This is Michael. I'm in the great state of Maryland, enjoying probably the last few sunny days of summer. I did post a short video earlier on today, just posing the question: Is Crawford better than Mayweather? And of course, I said a resounding no, but I did say no, not yet. Who knows what's going to happen if Crawford fights on for another two or 3 years, up through when he hits age 40, then he might get there. Actually, depending on the quality of the opposition and depending on what he does. But as of this time, this juncture in time, the answer is no. These are the reasons. Mayweather has a deep, deep resume. Mayweather fought from the late 1990s, winning. I believe he won the bronze medal at the Atlanta Olympics, and even then he probably deserved the gold. All right, and fought on well into the 2000s, going through pretty much a murder's row of adversaries, of opponents. Most of those are going into the Hall of Fame. When you look at Terence Crawford's resume, the two big names there are really Saul Canelo Alvarez and Errol Spence. And honestly, I don't even know. I mean, Errol Spence is a great fighter, but I don't know if I can call him. He's definitely not an all-time great, not yet to me. And I don't think he's going to be one because he's been on a hiatus, a ring hiatus, for so long. But when you look at Mayweather's resume, it's great. People point to the fact that Mayweather fought Canelo when he was inexperienced in green. Come on, guys. Canelo had almost over 40 fights at that point in time. I think 42 fights when he fought Mayweather. He was younger, he was stronger, he was experienced. At that time, Canelo used to throw some punishing combinations. Uh, the Canelo that Crawford fought really was only throwing single punches. This was a very, very much diminished Canelo. I always say that the Canelo that Mayweather fought was an exceptionally good fighter. I think Canelo was really either in his prime or entering his prime at that point in time. So Mayweather definitely fought the more difficult Canelo, and I also thought Mayweather beat Canelo, in my opinion, a lot better. Because when you look at the what Mayweather did with Canelo at that time, it really was something else. I think what's also interesting to me is that I think Mayweather and Crawford were about the same age when they beat Canelo. And I've been saying this all week. I think Canelo's misfortune is that he has come up against two all-time great fighters. And when I say all-time great, I mean really special fighters in Mayweather and Terence Crawford, in his lifetime. I just wish he would give Mayweather a lot more credit. He seems to be saying that Crawford is definitely the better fighter, and he's entitled to his opinion. But I really think Canelo learned a lot from that first Mayweather fight, because if you notice, his fighting style changed. He became a better boxer after that fight, but he just probably will not admit it. But again, the question, lots of questions swirling around. One, did Crawford beat Canelo a lot more soundly than Mayweather did? That question probably cannot really be answered. But the thing is, I personally think that Canelo was a better fighter at that point in time. People say he was experienced. No, he had a lot, many fights. Had been fighting for a while, and he was actually more explosive at that time. Going back to last Saturday's fight, Canelo actually fought pretty decent. I thought the first 5 or 6 rounds was fairly competitive. Canelo was doing some good things. He just wasn't punching in combination. He also was not using a jab. And so Crawford, being the great fighter that he is, was able to take advantage of that. I thought the scores, I might be in the minority on this. I thought the scores should have been a bit closer. I didn't think it was a blowout. I didn't think it was a wipeout. I thought there were certain portions of the fight where Crawford showed definitely his boxing skills, boxing dominance, and he was throwing in combination. And when anytime Canelo got in close, Canelo was digging in some pretty good body shots. But when Canelo came in close, what Crawford was doing was he was holding his ground and he would punch off in combinations, move away, and then move laterally to his left and his right away from Canelo's power. And so, Crawford did great. That's how he won the fight. But it was a pretty evenly contested fight. It was very interesting at the beginning. I thought Canelo was boxing on fairly even terms with Crawford the first couple of rounds, which was pretty good. But what a great fighter does, and I'm talking about Crawford now, is as the rounds go on, you start to separate yourself from the other guy, and that's what Crawford did. Another thing that people don't give Crawford enough credit for is that he has a huge gas tank. This guy is solid when it comes to his endurance. This is a guy that I think could easily have gone 15 rounds. He's that type of fighter who easily would have been a 15 round fighter back in the good old days when they did 15 rounds. So that's this is my wrap on this whole Crawford Mayweather thing. Again, I'm gonna repeat this again. I don't care what Tim Bradley says, and I respect Tim Bradley's opinion, but I do think that Mayweather at this point in time is still the greater fighter in terms of when you rank them as all-time greats based on the people he fought and based on his resumes. And I think one area where, well, they're both good at this. They're both good at adjusting mid-fight. I do think that Mayweather is the best that I've seen at being able to adjust mid-fight. Tim Bradley brought up something earlier on today. I was watching one of his videos where he was watching the Zab Judah fight, and he was doing comparisons because Zab obviously was a southpaw. But what Tim didn't really get into is the way that Mayweather was able to adjust and win that fight. And then you gotta also understand Mayweather was never really a power puncher. He could punch, get your respect. He was never really an aggressive power puncher. Crawford's a little bit different. Crawford, I think, hits harder and has a more aggressive mindset, but it's just two different styles. And so you can't judge it based on that. So the only thing that I can judge it based on is the resume, the deepness of the resume, the number of great fighters that Mayweather fought and beat. Crawford doesn't have that on his resume, and so you cannot negate that. You have to put that into the equation when you're judging these guys. But take away nothing from either of them. Crawford's an all-time great. IQ, unmatched boxing IQ. Same thing with Mayweather. All right, guys. I'll keep you posted. Bye.